I accuse you, mainstream media, you stupid so-called reporters, you're liars, you're cowards. You're all in favor of terrorism and you support this fascist Israeli government. You don't care about Palestinians, you don't care about anyone. You're all bigots, you're all racists. You're pretending, I'm so concerned about anti-Semitism. Oh, the Muslims, who cares? Murder them, murder them, murder them. Americans, you better send money to them, otherwise you're an anti-Semite. We'll destroy you in this country. That's what you look like.
As the one group that has been affected the most from all of this genocide is, of course, the children. So Abu Samaan was born on October 7th, 2023, just 3 hours before the start of what would become the genocidal war on the Gaza Strip. And on October 8th, as Nour rested in her mother's arms, Israeli missiles struck nearby. The air thick with smoke and toxic gas, the newborn began to struggle for breath. And in her first days of life, Nour was diagnosed with movement paralysis caused by the inhalation of toxic gases. But life only got more difficult when the hospital she was being treated at was targeted by the IDF. Nour was the sole survivor of the IDF's deadly attack on the Al Nasser hospital. But sadly, Nour's story is not unique in Gaza. We are seeing a lot of this type of thing happen over there. So the report says, as the family struggles, official data from Gaza's Ministry of Health confirms a surge in such cases. Zahir al-Wahidi, head of the ministry's information unit, reported that 1,200 children in Gaza now suffer from spinal cord injuries and paralysis directly resulting from Israeli attacks. Again, all of this is by design. This is what they wanted to happen. They knew what they were doing when they were targeting these children's schools and when they were targeting the hospitals. But there's more. Additionally, the Ministry of Health recorded 322 cases of congenital defects in 2025 alone, double the pre-war rate. And al-Wahidi attributes this spike to famine, toxic exposure from millions of tons of projectiles, and the collapse of prenatal care. Also, there are approximately 1,000 children who have undergone amputations or suffered severe permanent scarring. And for many children, their only hope for survival is immediate medical evacuation. But of course, Israel is not letting that happen. When we say it's by design, they want these people extinguished. So currently, some 4,000 children in Gaza require urgent treatment abroad. They were expected to be allowed to travel via the Rafah crossing, Gaza's only gateway to the world. But Israel has imposed heavy restrictions on movement. Despite the overwhelming need, official data provided by al-Wahidi shows that 154 children have been allowed to leave Gaza since crossing partially reopened in February. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, I like that we cover stories like this on this show because again, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in like the geopolitical angle of things and not remember or not really understand how to feel that these are real people who are being affected. And I think this is one of the frustrations that I had when Trump got reelected for his second term, and there was this feeling of just like nothing is going to get better. It's only going to get worse from this point. And people would say, oh, you know what? It's just 4 years. You'll be fine. It's not just 4 years because this is what can happen in just 1 year, right? And I know this didn't start at the beginning of Trump's second term. I know that this happened during the Biden administration, and the Democrats did not do anything to stop it. They just gave them more money. I understand that, but my point is just that so much damage can be done in so little bit of time, and rebuilding that is either impossible or will take so much longer to get back what was lost. And in this case, we're talking about children, we're talking about babies they're suffering from debilitating illnesses immediately upon birth. They're losing their limbs immediately upon birth, or they're just not surviving at all. And we're all complicit in this, whether or not we want to be. I like that we're speaking out against it here on shows like this one, but you do feel kind of helpless, Cenk.
Yeah, so I want to give you more facts. So 36 kids died in Israel on October 7th, and it was heartbreaking. We reported on it, and they're not political, they're not IDF, they're not Mossad, they're not in the government. They were poor innocent civilian kids. Our hearts broke for them, and the countries did, and the media talked about it a lot, and I think that it makes sense to talk about it a lot. That's why we're against terrorism. So 457 kids in Gaza have died within the first week of their life because of the conditions that Yaz just explained to you. They'd consume, breathe toxic air. They were on the verge of starvation. They were malnourished coming out because their moms were starving. So you remember that crazy nonsense talking point that the Republicans had of like, oh, after the baby's born, then they kill it. Some people are in favor of post-birth abortion or whatever. That's not a thing, right? But here in this case, they literally, a week after they were born, 457 Palestinian kids died. Okay, I don't know, there's monsters in this world, almost all of them are in Washington and Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, etc. that go, oh yeah, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. The 36 Israeli kids are worth their weight in gold. They're the most important people on the planet. The 457 Palestinian kids, who cares? They had it coming. As Golda Meir famously said, former Israeli prime minister, we'll never forgive the Palestinians for making us kill their children. Okay, but wait, I'm not done. There's another 470, that died, the kids. So how did they die? You remember Yaz just read to you guys, there's 4,000 kids that desperately need medical attention and need to leave Gaza. Well, Israel won't let them leave, even though they know that they're on the verge of dying. And by the way, monsters who are Israeli supporters go around saying, the Palestinians aren't even occupied. They don't exist and they're not occupied. Oh really, if they're not occupied, can the kids go and get medical attention somewhere else? No, shut up, you're under our control. The Palestinians are worthless, the Israelis say, and we'll slaughter their children. And they did. Since they didn't let the sick kids out, 470 of those kids died. And by the way, more are dying as we speak, because the Israelis haven't had enough bloodlust. They haven't murdered enough Palestinians yet. They sold 53% of Gaza. They're in the middle of stealing southern Lebanon now, but they need more land. Greater Israel's not enough. And yes, most Jewish Americans here do not believe this at all. So do not take it out on them. In fact, 63% of Jewish Americans are against the current Israeli government. But are there government officials and tons of Israelis right now who believe they are the chosen people? They are religious fundamentalists? Yes, literally every settler believes that. Every settler is a terrorist who thinks, I am a superior being. I am the Ubermensch. And these are my cattle. They call the Palestinians cattle. And they think, so what? I slaughter the cattle for my own purposes. That is exactly how terrorists and fascists and Nazis act. They murder those kids. All you gotta do is let them out. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to do anything. You never pay for anything anyway. America, you owe me 300 billion. You owe me 7 wars. You owe me, the Israelis say. We don't owe these genocidal maniacs anything. They murder children on a regular basis. Let the goddamn kids out, they're sick. But no, probably the majority of those 4,000 will also die after this, because Israel is led by a bunch of vicious monsters, terrorists, and almost everyone in Washington, everyone in our media, and everyone in our government goes, nope, you all have to bow your head and serve Israel. Give me your money, Americans. I'm gonna send it to Israel to murder more kids. That is an empirical fact. It's a fact. But no. When I was in DC, a bunch of mainstream media guys see me and they shun me. They're like, look at that guy. He doesn't even agree with Israel slaughtering kids. Ew, I wouldn't want to be associated with him. Oh, he should be canceled. He won't bow his head to Israel. He doesn't even want to murder Palestinian kids. Hey, Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, and all of you sons of bitches on cable news. Did you talk about the 470 kids that died for no goddamn reason because Israel wouldn't let them out? Did you talk about the 22,800 kids? My God, a stadium full of murdered kids. Did you show 1% of the compassion that you did for the 36 Israeli kids? Of course you didn't, because you think the Israelis are important and precious and that the Palestinians are not human. Show me 1% of the compassion for the Palestinian kids. You won't. Instead, what you'll do is anyone who shows compassion for the Palestinians, everyone on cable news minus Chris Hayes, will now come out and go, anti-Semites. You should fire them, you should ruin their lives. They're not even in favor of genocide. I'm so sick of the disgusting terrorist sympathizers in our mainstream media, which is 98% of them. I accuse you I accuse you, mainstream media, you stupid so-called reporters, you're liars, you're cowards. You're all in favor of terrorism and you support this fascist Israeli government. You don't care about Palestinians, you don't care about anyone. You're all bigots, you're all racists. You're pretending, oh, I'm so concerned about anti-Semitism. Oh, the Muslims, who cares? Murder them, murder them, murder them. Americans, you better send money to them, otherwise you're an anti-Semite. We'll destroy you in this country. That's what you look like. These Israeli supporters are sick. They're sick people. I can't stand that our money, your money out there, you go work hard for your living. And they send that money to Israel to slaughter children. Don't come to me with BS tropes. Tropes that you invented to protect yourself. Did you know you were gonna murder the kids? Is that why you invented the trope about blood libel? Come on, man. Jesus Christ, have you no decency or morality? If you're not as upset as I am about the genocide, and you know it. If you don't know it, I get it, brother. A lot of people don't know it because the thugs in our media, they think their job is to protect Israel. They don't give a damn about Americans. They don't give a damn about anyone but Israelis. So if you didn't hear it, I hear you. But if you know all this monstrosity and you're still running cover and you're doing propaganda for them, you're a sick, immoral person. Almost everyone on cable news and almost everyone in our Congress are sick terrorist sympathizers who rob us of our money to send it to their donors, the Israelis. They sicken me. You should despise them, Young Turks.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.